You have the right to present yourself whatever way you want to present yourself in the world. Don't let other people tell you that you are less valuable for choosing to present yourself differently. We all have a choice. You can be a totally different person next year if you want to put in the work to be that best feminine version of yourself. Oh, 2020, how we will probably not miss you. So many of you have approached me on how to overcome the burden of 2020, and honestly, for lack of a better term, and it's not very elegant to say, but 2020 just sucked in so many ways, and it was a very testing year. And if you did not go through any trials in 2020, honestly, I'm a little bit jealous of you, but that's great. And if you did go through trials like I did, like many of us did, let's try to come on top in 2021, pick up the pieces, rebuild, and present ourselves to the world as more feminine women simultaneously. Welcome back to the channel, Lovely Feminine Women. Thank you for being here. Your support every time that you like a video, every time that you leave me a comment, when you follow me on my other social media handles, it truly means a lot to me because I'm very passionate on this channel about propelling the message of femininity to include the conversation about feminine women in today's culture. And I also like to discuss topics of homemaking and more traditional living. If those are things that interest you, if you like any video that you see on this channel, I would love it if you would join the femininity revolution by hitting that red subscribe button down below. So I was watching the video that I made back in January 2020, and I titled it Instantly Feminine, I think. I cringed a little bit because my voice was not that great in that video since I was actually stuffed from being sick for a few weeks, but I was impressed by myself for powering through and creating a video for you. And I highly recommend that you still watch that video because there are a lot of practical feminine tips, and I honestly think that they might be the best feminine tips from a practical standpoint that I've ever put out there on my channel. So I'm going to link that video down below. But on the topic of that video, I recognized that last year and the year before that, when I started my YouTube channel in 2019, we were more so discussing tangible and superficial topics of femininity. Now, I did include a few more deeper subjects along the way, but my goal for this channel really is to bring us to a level where we are able to achieve more long-lasting femininity, which is doing that hard inner work that isn't necessarily so attractive at first glance because we live in a society that likes to have quick fixes to things, and we're very addicted to instant gratification. However, I feel confident that all of you women who have joined the femininity revolution, who are subscribed to my channel, are ready to take it to the next level, and I do think that we have something unique on this channel. So before we start off, I always appreciate it when you hit the like button. It's just kind of like a little something that lets me know that you're listening and you're truly appreciating this content. So without further ado, let me get into my first point on how you can become a better feminine woman in 2021. So in 2021, I want you to become a more resilient feminine woman. It's going to help you in your femininity for many different reasons. I've heard the talk about emotional control in the femininity community, and I think that we are all on the same page when we are talking about emotional control and how it can benefit you as a feminine woman in cultivating relationships and not letting negative emotion kind of get in the way of those relationships. But I think that there is something that is missing, and that is the distinction between emotional control and emotional repression. Like I said, I think we are all on the same page, but I want to make a clear distinction that having emotional control and being more resilient does not mean that you do not feel your emotions. Feeling your emotions, letting them pass through you, is a big proponent of being a feminine woman. Being able to analyze emotions, being able to share emotions with the world, that brings a level of humanity to the world, and that is one of the biggest gifts of femininity. So when I talk about resilience, I do not want you to repress your emotions. And back to the initial topic of 2020 being a hard year, if you are going through hard things in your life, which many of us do because that's a part of the human experience, what I actually want you to do is to acknowledge those emotions. If you have to kind of like give yourself self-talk, acknowledging those emotions, telling yourself, this is very difficult for me, please do so. Do not throw them away in a the corner of your mind and call that emotional control, because that is emotional repression. It's okay if you are struggling. It's okay if you have depression, anxiety, if you are going through very hard times, if you feel as though your life is unfair. That is okay. I was listening to a TED Talk or a book or a YouTube channel. I don't know what it is. I should have remembered it so that I could actually give credit to the person who was talking about it. But they were explaining how many of us feel inadequately prepared for life, and we feel as though it is like some sort of detriment that we have, some sort of like thing we need to necessarily fix in ourselves. But you have to understand that life is structured so differently than the way that we kind of go through life being taught. For example, in school, you are given the lesson and then the test. That's what the person was saying. But in life, you are given the test and then the lesson. So it's okay if you are not completely prepared for the test. And that's why I don't want you to repress your emotions. I actually want you to acknowledge them. I actually want you to feel them, because through the process of doing that, you are going to be better able to understand yourself, and you're going to be better able to handle hard situations, because you're going to feel a familiarity in those emotions and those triggers that come up when life is unpredictable and when life gets hard. Moving on, 2021, I really want it to be the year where we start pushing forward the message that it is okay to be like other girls. That's why I'm a big advocate about building community on my channel, and I wish that my channel was bigger, not for my own personal gain. I mean, of course, it would be nice to have a bigger channel with more subscribers listening to me. I'm human after all. But more importantly, it's not about me. It's about bringing women together to celebrate our similarities. There's such an obsession in the Western world with individuality. And individuality is not a bad thing, but it becomes a bad thing when we go through life thinking that we cannot have similarities to other people. And this is a detriment to femininity, because femininity is largely based on bringing people together, on building communities. And although we are all individuals, and that is a beautiful thing, we build community through our similarities, through our similar interests, through our shared backgrounds. And I think that many women are pushed into fields of studies they don't necessarily want to be in, into relationships, into jobs, because they're afraid of being like other girls, because culture does not validate being similar to other women. And this also feeds into a competitive spirit, because it causes women to compete with each other, and it breeds interrelational aggression, which I've talked about on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me there, because I post pictures with captions of things I don't often talk about on my channel. I kind of try to like diversify on all my social media handles. But anyway, that's beside the point. I really think that there's a lacking of feminine community in the world, because women are so obsessed with being different from other women so that they can be validated in the world as a strong woman. And this does cause for femininity to break down, because an integral part of femininity is being able to create sisterhood and to have other people that you can bond with, and you can share your thoughts and experiences, and you can celebrate your similarities. And on the note of competition, I want you to remember that there is plenty to go around, plenty of resources, plenty of basically anything in this world. You don't have to go through life with a competitive mindset, because that's going to breed jealousy in your behavior. And I see this kind of passive-aggressive behavior all the time, and I am not a perfect person. I have engaged in it as well, and I have really had to be honest with myself so that I could stop and break that pattern. I have even seen it in the femininity community. I am the target of bullying all the time. I'm not going to be like, woe is me, but I'm the target of this for being similar to other girls in the femininity community. And it's really a shame, because when we start doing that, we start fractioning the movement. We start breaking it apart. So whatever it is that you believe in, maybe you are passionate about a field of science, your job, whatever it is in this world, stop trying to compete with other women and start seeking out similarities to build community. Because like I mentioned a few minutes ago, there is enough to go around for everybody. You're doing more of a detriment, and we all lose if you are afraid of being like other girls. Next up, I want you to treat the art of femininity like a science. What I kind of mean by that is to dissect femininity. That's a big reason why I put out a feminine mannerisms series. That's a big reason why I put out the femininity mannerisms series. And a lot of people like to kind of criticize femininity channels because they say, well, if femininity is so innate to all of us, why do we have to have these videos where women learn how to dress femininely, how to speak femininely, how to walk femininely, etc., etc. And to that, I have to say, going back to the not like other girls, because culture tends to validate women who do not act necessarily in a feminine way. So it isn't training women to be something that they're not. It's actually creating an environment where their interests in those feminine things can flourish because they're continuously told that they need to repress those things in order to be a valuable woman. But the goal, like I mentioned also in my previous video, is to give space for women to actually have the choice to present themselves to the world like they want to be. So back to femininity as a science. Start taking femininity and each aspect of how you want to personally brand yourself seriously. If you haven't watched my previous video, watch that video because it could give you some encouragement for you to hold yourself to a higher standard when it comes to femininity. Many women are just looking for a model. Do this, be this way, and you will be the ultimate feminine picture. And as much as you could take, for example, my video on how to walk like a model, how to walk femininely, and you could emulate it and do that exactly, that won't necessarily make you completely feminine if you don't understand how to dissect things for your own personal feminine recipe. So get to know your body, get to know your voice, get to know your beauty combination, get to know your lifestyle. Take it seriously, kind of treat it like school, and you will actually find yourself a year from now stepping into that role, that personal branding, that woman that you want to be. You have the right to present yourself whatever way you want to present yourself in the world. Don't let other people tell you that you are less valuable for choosing to present yourself differently. We all have a choice. You can be a totally different person next year if you want to put in the work to be that best feminine version of yourself. I'd love to know if you have any goals in mind, if you've actually dared to plan some goals for 2021. We don't know what the world has in store for us, but if you have, I would love to know them down below. Let's inspire each other. I think last year I asked for your feminine word. That's another thing you could do. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, go back to that video last year if you want some more practical surface level tips. Those things will also help you in your journey. But if you have some more deeper goals when it comes to femininity, I'd also love to hear them down below. You know that I'm very invested in the comments section and I love hearing from all of you. It means so much to me. I'm looking forward to our next video, and I again want to thank you for being here on this feminine journey together. I feel like I am continuously growing every day because all of you, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you, and I hope that I can help inspire you to do the same. Bye-bye.